The last administration with Sleepy Joe and Obama tried to ram through one of the worst trade deals ever negotiated, worse than NAFTA, worse than WTO. It was called the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It would have been a disaster. TPP would have gutted the American auto industry, would have been in shambles. Our auto industry is coming back so strong. Would have gutted, would have destroyed the industry. But in my first week in office, I proudly withdrew the United States from that job-destroying catastrophe. And we're imposing beautiful, well-placed tariffs. Money comes in on foreign countries that cheat our workers, steal our jobs, and break all the rules. I'm sorry. And by the way, they've been changing and charging tariffs on us for years. We have countries that charge us 100%, 200%, 297% in the case of Canada with your farm products. We're not going to stand for it. And man, did we turn things around. And we've just started. If companies don't want to pay a tariff, I have one simple solution. Come make your product in America. Come make your product in New Hampshire. Zero tariffs. Zero. No tariff. Together, we're restoring this nation's industrial might, and we are doing it with American iron, American aluminum, and American steel. We're doing steel. Steel industry is hot. They were dumping steel all over. They were destroying our companies. U.S. Steel now, all of them, they're all expanding. The steel industry is back. It's doing great. We're opening up mines in Minnesota, the great state of Minnesota. They have magnificent mines that have the best iron ore in the world, and President Obama closed them down. Maybe we can get Representative Omar from Minnesota to open it up, but I don't think so. She'll open them up. I don't think so. Representative Omar, that's another one. We're replacing NAFTA with the brand new USMCA. That's Mexico and Canada. Great deal. The USMCA will create countless jobs for farmers, manufacturers all across the state. We need Congress to pass the USMCA immediately. We'll make it a bipartisan deal. We don't even want credit. The unions benefit, the non-unions benefit, everybody benefits. It brings it back to fairness, and it makes it very hard for our companies to leave our countries, go to Mexico or Canada. We lose all our jobs, we lose all our taxes, we end up with empty factories and plants. It makes it almost impossible. We're not going to have that. That was my one rule that I had to have. It's going to be very, very hard for companies to do that. I've also taken the toughest ever action to stand up to China's chronic trade abuses. Earlier this month, the U.S. government officially labeled China for the first time ever a currency manipulator, another promise kept. While others allowed China to freely loot the U.S. economy, $500 billion a year, not million, billion, with a B. We've made it clear that the theft of American jobs and American wealth is over. Yet, today, the Wall Street Journal editorial board, and some others continue to publish foolish articles that demonstrate that they understand nothing about trade or business, nothing. They advocate only economic surrender. They actually say, go to China, take off the tariffs, make a deal. I lose all the cards, we take off the tariffs. We don't have any cards. Think of it. They say, go to Europe. By the way, the European Union is worse than China, just smaller. It treats us horribly. Barriers, tariffs, taxes, and we let them come in. It's worse than China. Many of us come from there. I do. That's what it's got going. That's about it. They treat us really badly. And many others, many others. India tariffs us probably higher than any nation anywhere in the world. We have tariffs of 100% on products and much more than that. India. So we're working on all of them. I called Prime Minister Modi. I said, Mr. Prime Minister, not fair. We got to change. And we're talking to them very seriously. We're talking to a lot of places. But when the Wall Street Journal comes out and they say, no, take the tariffs off, go and talk to China. They've been trying to talk to them for 25 years. But actually, you know what? They really haven't. The fact is, the leaders that were in my position, they didn't do a damn thing. They didn't talk. Past leaders followed the terrible advice of these editorial boards that are frankly totally inexperienced in business, I guess, and our industries were utterly decimated. Globalism enriches foreign countries at our expense. Globalism. I love our country. I'm the President of the United States of America. I'm not the President of the world. And as long as I'm president, America will never bow to a foreign nation like we were for so many years. As we restore our prosperity, we are also restoring public safety. We are fighting to reduce violent crime. You see so much it over the last 25 years, so much crime. And ensure that every American can live in safety and peace. And yet, with all that you see, we've had one of the best years of crime prevention that we've ever had. Wouldn't seem that way, but it is one of the best years because those gentlemen that we just saw, law enforcement, they do a great job. And you've been reading about this a lot lately. We are working very hard to make sure we keep guns out of the hands of insane people and those who are mentally sick and shouldn't have guns. But people have to remember, however, that there is a mental illness problem that has to be dealt with. It's not the gun that pulls the trigger. It's the person holding the gun. Years ago, many cities and states, I remember it so well, closed mental institutions for budgetary reasons. They let those people out onto the street. You probably have your examples up here. I can tell you in New York, they closed so many of them, and they let really seriously mentally ill people out on the streets. And you see plenty of them today, even today. We're going to have to give major consideration to building new facilities for those in need. We have to do it. And at the same time, we will be taking mentally deranged and dangerous people off of the streets so we won't have to worry so much about that. A big problem. We don't have those institutions anymore, and people can't get proper care. They're seriously ill people, and they're on the streets. We can't make it harder for good, solid, law-abiding citizens to protect themselves. We will always uphold the right to self-defense, and we will always uphold the Second Amendment. We will.
Croc TV.